Alright friends, welcome back to the second topic or second part of the training on nitty-gritty of web development. So in the first training we saw many things. We looked at how to structure our website, and let me just make this bold. How to structure our website and do some other things. Let me go back to my file, to my folder. You know the way we do it, you open folder and then you locate the folder where your website is, the folder you put your website, and then we look for it there and open it. So let's get back to our folder. Okay, this is where we stopped. This is where we stopped in the first training, where we learn how to structure our website and the rest of them. Quickly, let me show you how to run what you are doing from here without having to go to your folder. So you simply go to this run. When you click on run and go to run without debugging because it's not necessary. Then you select Chrome. When you select Chrome, it will open your file in the Chrome. You simply open your file in the Chrome. Yeah, so the file has been opened in the Chrome browser. So that's how far we have gone. Okay, so don't know why this is here, but okay, it's the running. No, don't worry about that. So we simply close this. All right, now in this particular training, this particular one we are into now, we just try to find better ways of doing some things. So I'm going to get rid of everything on this page. I'm going to get rid of everything. You can see what we did is still here. Anytime I refresh it, it's still the same thing. So but here we will get rid of all this and start something new. Okay, so let me just clean all this. Okay, so I've cleaned all this. Now that I've cleaned this, I want to show you a better way of just getting your website structure quicker, and then so that you don't have to write head HTML. So how do you do it? Just put an exclamation mark. When you put an exclamation mark, Visual Studio will automatically suggest this. So just click on this first explanation that has one exclamation mark. You can see here is showing you that this is what is going to give to you. The structure will be there already. So I'll click on enter. You can see that within our head, you can see doc type HTML. This is HTML, language is English. Then within the head, you can see that this HTML here, the only difference now is that there is a class. When we talk about class, I will tell you why there is now this language English. It's just a class showing that this is English. So this is the closing of this HTML, and then this is head, and this is the closing of the head. This is the body, and this is the closing of the body. So within this body, we can have, like I said before, you can have your header, your footer, your box, your image, many things that you want to do. So these ones are meta tags. But these meta tags, this is what helps to fit your website in to different screens. Though this does not work automatically, there is some things you need to do, which you are going to see in this training on how to make your website to be mobile responsive. But for now, this is not what we are into now. So if you go back to our Chrome, you see, if you refresh, you see that everything is gone. Everything is gone because we have removed all those codes. So we have a blank page again. So whatever we are building, we start building on our body. If you look here, you will also see that this is document. Why is it showing document? Because on the header, you can see that the title is document. So I'll simply change this again to training. I change it to training and come here and refresh. You see that it has changed to training. So that's just it. So let's see some other things. So basically, before we continue in this video, we will not be writing our CSS inside this particular page again. We're going to use our external CSS, and as we continue, we are going to also learn about inline CSS, where you just add some CSS styling within some HTML tags in order to modify that particular element. Okay, let's call it element now. Okay, so instead of coming to this head here, I say that anything you put within this head is just telling the browser how to display your page. It doesn't display as a content. Okay, so instead of coming here to say style and then style, sorry, instead of coming here to say style and then begin to write our CSS code within this style tag, we will simply do something. We are going to create another file different from this and then simply link it up to this page so that anything we do can now be reflected. So how do we do that? So we go to this place again, and within our training you can see that this is our folder, and this is the first file we created, which we are working on now. So we're going to create another file, another CSS file. So we click on this and name it styles.css, because this is a CSS file. You can see the extension is something like a hashtag. So style.css, and then you save it. Okay, you can now see that you now have two this thing here. You can see this is the HTML and this is your style sheet. So we'll be writing HTML here. I'll be writing our style here. Remember, look at the name, styles.css. So to make things easy, I'm going to divide this screen into two so that you will be seeing your two codes at once. So I'm simply going to drag this. You simply drag it to this point. You see it's highlighting that it wants to go to this point. So we drop it here. Okay, you can see that the screen are now divided into two so that you can now be seeing your HTML files and your CSS file at once. So that is just it. So now we are going to link this style. We're going to link this CSS file to the HTML so that whatever we are styling here will be reflecting in our this thing here. So first of all, let's just put a tag. Let's just put a header here. And call it, let's say H1. Of course, I know by now you must now know what is H1, and let's call it hello world as we did before. So if you go to your Chrome, and refresh, you can see hello world is now appearing here. So we want to style that hello world. Now I will say H1 and put my opening and closing brace and say color is red. Let's see what happens. So let's go and refresh and know what is going to reflect. You see it, after reflection nothing happens. The reason is because we have not linked this CSS file to this index.html. So immediately we link this to this, is going to reflect. So instead of writing our style inside this place, we are now having a separate file where we write our CSS and then simply link it here. So how do we link it? You link it in the header, in the head of the website. So we're going to come to this header and say, let me type link. Now if you click on, if you see link, you will see that you can link to many things. You can have a normal link, you can have an atom link, a CSS link, a 5e icon, an import, and the rest of them. But what we want to link is CSS. So we click on CSS. So even if you are not using Visual Studio where these options are given to you, you simply type what you see here, this thing that you see here, simply type it. And simply type, now that you have typed it, so what is this saying? It's telling you that this is a link, and this link is referring to a style sheet. Like I said, that CSS means cascading style sheet, and is referring to referring to a style sheet. And what is the style sheet is referring to? This is the name. This one now is the name of the style sheet that it is referencing to. This is href, which means that this link is referencing to a style sheet. So you will make sure that the name of this href, that this style.csx matches with the exact name. As you can see now, it does not match because there is an X here which is styles, whereas here is only style. So we're going to, so if even though we have done this now, if you go and refresh this, you'll see that it does not still work because that is not the accurate name. So but immediately I put an X here, you can see that the name, in fact it suggests, you see that the Visual Studio already know that this file is existing, so it is suggesting it already, but no problem about that. Now you see now the name styles.css is now merging with the name here. And remember, why is it able to see? Is because this file is in the same folder with this file. So if you put this file in a different folder, you have to write the directory, you have to write the path of this CSS for it to locate it. So but because it's already on a folder, in the same folder, and that folder is training, which we created, the name of our folder is training. Now let's go and refresh and know whether the color will change. You can see now the color has changed simply because we have a CSS file and then we have linked that CSS file. Instead of writing our CSS, instead of writing these codes within this head, we are simply using a link to link it to another file which are in the same folder. Let's confirm that they are in the same folder. Let me go back and confirm that they are in the same folder. I go to my local disk, web dev, and then I go to training. You can see that this is index.html and this is styles. So this is styles, showing that the two files are now in the same folder, and that is why you are able to reference it. If I move this style, okay, let me do this. Let me cut this. Let me move it away and go and put it at project. Let me go and put it at okay, let me just put it outside here, so it is no more in that folder. If you go and refresh, you see that it will go away because the two files are no more in the same folder. I just want you to understand how this thing works. The two files are no more in the same folder. But if I copy this part, this part is web dev, computer local disk, web dev, but that will be stressful, so I'll have to go to move this thing back to where it was. So I cut it and put it back to where it was. So now if you refresh back, you can now see that the color will appear because they are now in the same folder. So this is what we call external CSS to make things easier, because by the time you feel, because CSS file is very large, so by the time you are writing big website and you have to write all the CSS file within this head, you see that you have to be scrolling up and down. But now you can see that we are able to just write our CSS file in by the right hand and then by the left hand here. I can put this anywhere. Please, it mustn't be here. I can decide to drag this style. I decide to drag this style to another place. Don't know why this is. Don't know why this is here. So I can decide to drag this to down here. So if I drag it to down, it will now divide it like this. You can see the HTML is now up and the CSS is now down, but I don't like that. I will always want to keep it by the right. Okay, so that is that to that. So you can see that is how to link, to create an external CSS file and link it to your HTML file, so that you can now reference it and then it will work in your browser. It will work in your browser. As you can see, we have given this color. So if we say that this H1 should test align, let's test align center, you can see that now it is now working. It will move to the center because the CSS is now linked to the HTML. Immediately I remove this link, immediately I remove this from this thing, it will no more be able to see this CSS, and so it will not work again. So that is just that for that. Okay.